Alright, you ready?
I'm ready.
Public. 1, 2, 3. Ooh! It's
And now
live.
it's out.
You done? We done?
Yep, I got it.
Yay! I just released my collab with Caitlin, the Aussie Monster Mash. I'm really happy with how that turned out. I've also just finished editing the auto draw video, which will probably go up later this week, and then basically I'm editing for the next couple of days, with the exception of this morning when I'm going to be recording some footage, the second half of the footage for this prank video that I did. So for those of you who didn't catch it, I went in the city and did a bit of hidden camera stuff, asking different companies for free stuff, or by payment of exposure and credit and stuff. So that all makes sense when I pair it with the half of the video I'm going to record today, which is going to be a talk to camera section, where I essentially talk about comparing that to artists being offered to be paid by given exposure or things like that. So I'm going to record that today, and then that and a whole bunch of other videos I've recorded over the last few weeks I'm going to edit over the next couple of days. Okay, I'm about ready to record, and I'm using for the first time my Lumix GH5. I'm a little bit excited. I'm also like, I don't know, I wouldn't say nervous, but I've never used it before, so I'm curious to see if people notice a difference in quality or anything. I'm not going to be recording in 4K because, well, my computer can't handle it, but I will record in 1080p, and hopefully the picture will be nice and crisp because, you know, I'll have recorded it on a 4K camera, which hopefully kind of smooshes it into a clearer picture. I don't know how it works. Hopefully it's cool. Whee! Very nice. Maybe it's because we love what we do for a living that people think they can ask for it for free, or maybe it's because it's not a real job that people expect you should be paid for, like being a cashier or a lawyer or a prostitute. So I finished taking my first ever footage with the GH5. I'm really happy with it, although it's a little grainy because it's sort of, I don't know, it's got a bit of gain on it, mainly because I didn't fiddle with the settings long enough to find a really good balance. This is the first time I used it, and really I just wanted to use it, so I could have fiddled more to get a cleaner picture, especially in the darks, but otherwise I think it turned out pretty cool. Something I find really interesting though is when you compare it to, let's say, this footage which I caught from my Canon camera, which I've used for years. This is my final footage, so it has a bunch of things here. We have levels and lighting effects, sharp and that sort of stuff. So this is the raw footage, and you can see the difference there. It's just got a little bit more punch. Sometimes I zoom in and things like that. Do keep in mind though that this camera that I'm showing you through is distorting the image slightly, so it's not a very clear representation of it. Anyways, so yeah, that's the final footage and that's the raw footage. This is the final footage on the GH5, and this is the raw footage, and it's much muddier. Again, it's hard to show on this camera because in reality it looks much more flat and sort of muddy, which is really interesting. And I chose that camera setting because people say it's really good for editing, and it is. It's awesome. And one of the main reasons that it's awesome is, like, I can put on things like my lighting effects, like central light and stuff, without blowing out the skin tones or anything like that. Sometimes I struggle with that with my Canon camera. I get a really bright sheen, especially in areas of the forehead. So it really allows me to tweak and edit the colors like really nicely and keep all of my like original like footage. It's not over contrasted, or you know, the original flat footage is really quite bland looking, but it allows me to do so much more with it. So I thought you might find that interesting. This has, again, similar lighting effects to my original Canon one, but to a more extreme because I'm lifting out a much muddier original picture, but I feel like the result is a lot cleaner, which I'm really excited about. So that's the Canon, and then that's the GH5. Yay! Oh, and there's one final comparison I forgot to make. This is the footage playing on the original Canon, and then this is the footage on the GH5. So I don't know if you can tell very clearly, but this camera is recording at 30 frames a second, so this footage on the GH5 should look a lot smoother, and that's because it is. This is 30 frames a second as opposed to my Canon, which is 24 frames a second. So it's just that little bit slower, well, not slower, it's just that little bit more choppy, very minor, whereas the 30 frames per second GH5 is just a overall much smoother video. I'm so excited! So I've just been editing away and I'm wrapping up for the day. I'll finish up with a question of the day from Pinky12736, who says, "Hi Jazza, I'm 16 and a female. I have a question about motivation. How do you stay positive with your art whenever you're depressed or don't feel like doing anything? I get depressed easily since I have a depression disorder and I don't know how I can stay drawing when I'm upset most times. How do you do it? I don't know how to stay happy and cheerful for my art. My friends don't talk to me really and I sit alone at lunchtime at school." This is a difficult one for me because I'm not a professional when it comes to giving advice on these sorts of things. So, you know, take it with a grain of salt, but I'll do my best and I don't want your comment to have gotten buried. So all I could think to say is that there are two ways I will look at it. The first is the emotional and personal aspect of it, and sometimes that can be aided with professional help, and it's never a problem. It's never a bad thing to get professional help. I have gone to counselling and things like that in my life, and that's always been a huge help to me, and even reading certain books like The Reality Slap was a really good one that I really liked. So there are ways to combat that just by helping assist your worldview and to find ways and methods to lift yourself out of certain ways that you find you can be depressed. The second thing I'll say is associated with art. You don't have to be happy to make art, and in fact you don't even have to be happy with your art per se. It's more about an outlet, and in fact, to be honest, particularly when it comes to writing songs, I have always found that I'm most creative when I'm most depressed. You know what I mean? And there was a period of time in my life where I was super down, really like as bad as I ever have been. And it was music and it was creativity that got me through that, and I actually learnt a lot and expressed and made a lot that I ended up being quite happy with, that helped pull me out of that in its own way. Obviously it doesn't solve your problems and it didn't solve mine, but it was a positive part of being an outlet that was constructive rather than destructive. So I guess I'll say that, you know, like find the things that make you happier or at least get you creative, even if it's just expressing and using the feelings that you're struggling with to your advantage. Use them to express yourself, and sometimes you might surprise yourself by making some really authentic art, and that's what art is all about. It's not about being happy all the time. I have a YouTube channel where the theme of the channel is essentially having fun with art, and that's my relationship with art, but that doesn't mean it has to be everyone's. That's just how I enjoy art. Some people use it as a therapy, and that's just as valuable. So I hope that's been helpful to you. Otherwise, that's it for today's video, ladies and gentlemen. I really appreciate everyone's thoughts and feedback on yesterday's 1-year vlogiversary video. There were a surprising number of people who were like, pro ads, woo, monetize the vlog channel. And I'm obviously conflicted about this. And I feel like there's a lot of vocal positive people. I think it's reasonable to put it to a vote. I feel like, do you know what? I should take this out of my hands and put it in your hands, because at the end of the day, I started this vlog channel for you. And I want anyone who has an opinion for or against to please vote. I'll put a link in the description just to a simple poll. And it won't be a simple yes or no. I'll have a few different answers and just choose one that you feel is most fitting to how you would feel about this vlog channel running ads. When I started the vlog channel and didn't fully know what would happen or what it would become, I said a few things, and one of the things I said was that it would be a behind the scenes and that I'd take a question every day where possible, and I've done that. I also said that I wouldn't monetize the vlog channel because I monetized my main channel and I didn't see there being a need for that. Now obviously monetization on YouTube has become a bit shaky as of recently, so it feels a little less stable at the moment. And then beyond that, the third thing I said is that the videos I would make on this vlog channel would be pretty simple, and to excuse if I don't do any editing or if I just film for 2 minutes and just talk a bunch of crap and then that's the vlog for the day. That hasn't happened. And in fact, I've actually, as a glutton for punishment and a stickler for perfection. Not perfection, but as perfect as I can get doing it all on my phone. I've worked pretty hard to actually get what I think is a reasonable sort of production value out of the vlog. And I edit all of the videos and I upload them every day. So I'm interested to know your thoughts. And please, if you have feelings against them, now's your time to express them. I want to know what you want, and that would really help me. So links in the description. Otherwise, thank you all so much for watching and being a part of this amazing community. I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow.